Friends and subscribers, Clearasvodka back with you. I have a little smorgasbord of news clips and snippets to share with you. And just to say hello, I've taken a hiatus, a rest, done some thinking, done some traveling, done some stacking, and I'm ready to bring a few more videos your way in the near future. Hope you're all doing fine. Hope you're all in good spirits despite the condition of most places on Earth in 2016. At least most of us have a roof over our head, a shirt on our back, and food at the table. These basic staples of everyday human life can't be taken for granted, that is, unless you are in Holland. The Dutch city plans to give residents a universal basic income. That's right. I almost lost my cookies when I heard this, but starting several months back, they were playing around with the idea in the EU, some of these very socialist countries, of giving residents a universal basic income. I guess it's to be expected. Europe's gone socialist and has been so really since before the World Wars, if you want to look at it, historically. But when Canada and some other countries also talk about this, including the United States, then you've really got to take notice, and you've got to understand and question. Do these people know what they're doing? Do they know what they're talking about? Because experiments have been done throughout time on guaranteed incomes. And they've done these studies with animals even. They've done it with birds, and they've done it with chimps. They've done it with other animals in experiments, giving them, guaranteed food stipends, and not rewarding them for work being done or for doing tasks or for learning something in their controlled studies. And what they found, of course, is that without any incentive to work hard, the animals that were tested simply stopped doing anything. They just laid around on their arse and accepted their stipend and didn't try to improve their situation. Well, human beings are simply intelligent animals, aren't we? And when these types of measures have taken place in some societies throughout history, if you read up on it, you'll find that the same thing happened. Lack of creativity, lack of motivation to do anything to improve themselves or the condition of their society. And in general, human progress stalled. And that is exactly what would happen if we're going to implement guaranteed minimum salaries in any sane culture on Earth. It's just flabbergasting. Aside from that, here's another piece of news that might interest you. I've talked a lot about the Big Mac Index and how you can gauge the cost of goods and services in other countries. And one of them, of course, is by using a uniform item like the Big Mac. But here's a cost of living index for Levi's 501 jeans, which are pretty much universal. At least the real ones are. Can't be so sure here in China. But a pair of Levi's 501 or similar type of staple clothing jeans. And here is the cost of a pair throughout the world. And you'll see that, of course, Iceland being number 1, Switzerland being number 2, Denmark, Norway, etc. And you'll find your country in here in the list somewhere, but it just kind of goes to show what things cost in different countries. And are those countries pegged to the dollar? Are they not pegged to the dollar? Are they socialist? Are they, what are they? That kind of keys you in as to what the cost of a basic pair of jeans would be. Of course, there are other factors here too, such as, do they have a distribution? Do they have manufacturing in country? Do they have a population that's large enough to be a good measure of this index? And do they wear jeans at all? Because in some regions of the earth. They do not wear jeans on a daily basis. So I'll leave that here in the comments section. You can take a look and find out where to buy and where not to buy Levi's 501. Another key topic that I wanted to discuss, and I'll discuss at length more and more as the months go on, is this move here in 2016 to go to a complete cashless world. Not just a cashless society in developed countries, but here in China also the move is dramatic and swift, and it keys you in onto how interconnected the world financial system is and how the agenda seems to get played out through borders around the world. They don't just have these G meetings and these little get-togethers at Davos for nothing. True, they do talk about and plan everything out before these meetings, which are nothing more than just a picture show and a chance to schmooze. But it just goes to show that we already are really in a one-world limited government, and you can see signs of that everywhere. And I'll try to clue you in on that more as we go on through this year. But I want to get down to cashless society right here. How inclusion becomes an issue here. And here's a couple articles. Here's one by The Guardian I'm going to leave here in the comments section that talks about it's going to hit the poor, the elderly, and the lower middle class the worst, because some businesses simply need cash to function properly. Cash means total financial inclusion, a luxury the better off take for granted. Without financial inclusion for all people in all businesses and all choices of payments and acceptance, there will always be some who, for whatever reason, won't have it and will be denied the ability to have a fruitful life for their family. Their children will go without, and this isn't really human progress as the powers that be would have you believe. Here's another article in Japan Times about it. And it talks about, cashless society is a wonderful thing until it's not, until basically things don't work properly. What happens when your bank goes under? And what happens when your ATM is inaccessible? What happens when there is no power? These are just some minor concerns. The problem is much deeper than that when you really think about it, that the having physical cash, although fiat has been a staple of societies for thousands of years. Small change is a big problem here in China for corn reform. People are basically trying to get rid of change, which is flabbergasting to me, because China has a long history with physical payment, whether it be bricks of tea, gold and silver coins. China arguably was the first place in the world to use paper for payment of goods and services. Paper, metal, and plastic, the people of China, the small businesses, do not want them. In fact, some of them even refusing change back because they don't want the heavy coins in their pocket. We should all be so lucky then as Chinese consumers to be so rich that they don't take change back. But me personally, I always pay with cash. I never pay with electronic payment. And that's just because, my monetary beliefs are rooted in having a hard currency, a standard gold, silver, or whatever you want to choose as a hard asset backing for your currency. And finally, I'm going to talk briefly here about the upcoming election. And all you really need to know when it comes to Mr. Trump is this: he calls himself a lifelong supporter of Israel. That's all you need to know about Mr. Trump and what kind of president he would be, because Hillary Clinton is also a lifelong supporter of Israel. And the reason why is because both candidates are benefiting from being lifelong supporters of Israel, not just in rhetoric, but in practice. Now, we know that despite the fact that Mr. Trump has enough money to fund his entire campaign, he has taken out loans to, in fact, finance part of his campaign. And those loans that he has taken out are, of course, through the bankers that control Congress, the bankers that control the other side of the aisle, and the bankers that control Hillary Clinton. In fact, the bankers that have made the Clintons very, very rich. That's all you really need to know about this election. There are otherwise intelligent men in print, on TV networks, and on YouTube here that are calling a potential Trump presidency as a godsend and our savior, and how this is going to really help reverse the damage that Mr. Obama has done. And to those people, I would say, don't be so naive. I think that what you'll get will be far, far worse than this lame duck president that we have now. And I mean that in jest. Obviously, Mr. Obama's been a disappointment, but when the Clintons are involved, or Mr. Trump is involved with no political background, you're going to find that the dysfunctionality, the disappointment coming out of the White House will be taken to all-time highs. And truth be told, that time will tell. But like I said, the proof is in the pudding. Both candidates taking money from the same banks. Both candidates pledging their support of Israel. You understand what that means? They're taking an oath to a foreign entity before the United States of America. That is high treason, my friends. And beware of any candidate or any business person or anybody that you run into in your daily life that has taken multiple oaths to multiple different entities. You can't trust where their loyalties really lie. And if Jefferson, Adams, and the Founding Fathers were alive today, they would be spitting fire. They're probably turning over in their grave now, because most of Congress has signed their support of Israel. Signing support to a foreign entity, that is treasonous. That is against what any nation, not just the United States, should be about. You're only good for one oath at a time. And none of the candidates running for the highest office have any integrity and have any intention of helping you or I, the United States, North America, or the world. It's bad for everybody. Bad for everybody. That you can be sure. And anything short of that thinking is just being plain naive.